Hello everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God, Chapter 355 of Season 2, Episode 275. Another really good chapter, still liking this arc. It felt a little bit, maybe it's because Siu is sick, and Siu is still sick, at least I gather that certainly from the blog post. But maybe it's because of that. This felt a lot like last week's chapter, and they both felt different from, I guess, normal. I don't know if normal's the right word to call it. But they did both feel different. Just the way they were written and paced out. And this one was a little bit shorter than your normal chapter. But either way, let's go through part by part and discuss more of the overall stuff for it. This, not a ton necessarily happened for the chapter itself, but it was still very, very good because of what it means for the future and what it kind of set up for us to go into for the rest of this arc. It was just a little transition, turning point kind of chapter. But let's go through it. We start off, we see Rose shot. Of course, that happened at the end of last chapter. Chung's little clone avatar thingy disappears as Rachel takes the helmet off the real Chung. She won't give it back to him. She steps outside the room to notice that they are in a tower, amongst a bunch of towers that are in water somewhere, and there's suspender ships flying all around and stuff too. Back with Bottas and them, he's crying over Rose's body. Bomb says his wound is healing, but he is clearly not taking this very good. He's righteously pissed, and again, I said in the live reaction, I like kind of when Bomb gets this way, because it's consistent with his character. This is the way he gets. When somebody does something evil, he gets like righteously angry and has to brood and think about how he's going to defeat him before he comes around and figures out how to do it. So I like this part of Bomb's character, what he's doing here. And they think maybe it's the thorn is the reason he's healing so quickly, but it could just have something to do with the hidden floor, in all honesty. Kun has the tit with him. He's trapped it in a little lighthouse thingy. The monster vanished when Chung did, which doesn't make total sense why it being there was tied with Chung being there, but okay, it disappeared when Chung did. Rose says she doesn't remember Bottas. He tries to sing her his song, and it's part of Rose's last moments where she says she liked it, and it was so sad. If we really knew the character more and cared about her more, that would have been completely heartbreaking. But in the terms of the story, it's so sad and makes me love Bottas so much. Bottas is just such a good character. Bomb, we then see, is like really fuming, really pissed off. And also for me, just something I want to throw in there, I kind of am feeling like Rose could just be fixed. She is data. I don't want to say just data, like they aren't sort of sentient human at this point. But yeah, she really could just be fixed, I would think, technically. Then we cut there to Yuhan Sung takes Bomb, Andrasi Kun, and presumably some of the others, and but we don't actually see them on screen, but he tells them about the stage, the truth about it. And I think during this, they have this little exchange that I think's hilarious, where he tells them about they need to move before Chung gets back, and then Kun is like, oh, so we should just finish off the quest, and the tit looks super worried, and then he's like, no need to do that, we'll just go by the real quest, and then the tit just like looks so relieved. I thought it was great. The tit's hilarious. Yuan Sung said he actually came to this floor looking for somebody, which I think is so cool, because I really want to know who he's looking for, and if he's able to go and find them while he's traveling with Bomb's group here. But either way, the real him left without meeting that person who he came here to see, and this data version of him since then has doubted the whole big breeder thing. He's like, the big breeders presumably weren't here since the beginning, so why are they here? What is their purpose? Why are we rewarded for following their rules, but then punished for not following them? So he ended up seeing what would happen if he filled the entire gauge with black, with the evil instead of the good blue light. So he filled it completely black, and it actually activated the real true quest, not some fake quest that's been cooked up by the big breeders. So he unlocks the real grand quest, and he presumes then that it must be because the big breeders are using fake quests to hide the truth. During this quest, his allies get killed off, he says, or eliminated, something like that. So he flees into the quarantine area to wait for Bomb's group to get there. How he knew how he knew they were going to get there or whatever. Don't know yet. Maybe he was just waiting for somebody who fits Bomb's general description or something. But either way, he fled to the quarantine area to wait for them, and what he sort of inferred from all of his experience here is that he's guessing the big breeder's true bodies aren't really there, and that they might be in a different virtual world. Wow, I don't know why I struggled to say that. But it turns out this is true. We get introduced by Chung to the hidden floor. Could have thought of a more creative name there, but the hidden floor. Basically, the story behind it is that Zahard and the 10 family heads used a second mirror that somebody brought for them to separate themselves from the regulars, because after they built this nice little world for themselves, a bunch of regulars started showing up, and they wanted to separate themselves from the peasants, essentially, which completely fits with everything we know about them thus far. So which shows that Zahard's already kind of a douchebag at this point. Not necessarily evil, but he's already like, let's separate the little regulars from us somewhere else. So where Rachel is right now with Chung is the place where the few chosen live. And he says that they can't cross directly into the other mirror, but they can use the VR helmet to make an avatar, a data copy there to use. And he says that his job in particular is to manage the people there and to keep them trapped in that world and stop them from crossing over to the one they're in. So I guess that's his particular stage, that's his job, and there are probably other big breeders that are very similar to Chung that do the same thing with other stages. Which I think is cool. I hope we get to see other big breeders and see how they do their jobs. Maybe one decides to be a trader and it's like, oh cool, I can take this out of that little video game world and make it into our real, still fake world. So maybe we can see all kinds of varieties of people who aren't just like the strict by the books because he sees it as a game kind of big breeder like Chung. Maybe we could see some different ones, or maybe ones that are even stricter who don't even see it as a game like Chung does and takes their job super serious. So we could see what else happens with that. Rachel, we find out the way Rachel got there was she was teleported onto Chung's bed. So Chung is a very lucky nerd. Just got a girl teleported onto his bed. And let me tell you, I always feel bad saying it, but I said it once before actually, like arcs ago I think, where I'm like, casual clothes are really hot to me, so Rachel in these sweat clothes is like, it does it for me. So yeah, Rachel in sweat clothes looking good. Rachel says that she wants to use a data clone to go meet people from the train. I'm thinking maybe she's talking about Yura or Wangnan. I don't know what purpose it would serve for her to go talk to Bomb's group, given that she's kind of a rival to them. But I think we haven't seen Yura yet, we haven't seen Wangnan yet. I think it'd be totally cool if she made an avatar or whatever and was able to somehow go find out where Yura and Wangnan are. Also kind of weird that Rachel showed up. Oh, maybe it's because she had the ring. Maybe the ring is what made her end up in the special world. Because I was just about to say, it's weird that she ended up in the special world and Wangnan didn't, from what we know so far. So maybe it's because of the ring. Maybe it's because she had that on her. Either way, though, that's actually where we end. Yeah, it was a weird ending like last week. But either way, in the blog, CU does say that the upcoming stories may seem unrelated, but all of them are going to connect into the main story. So all of them are going to be important, even if they don't seem like it at first. Also, he says that the stories in the hidden floor are his opportunity to make connections to the 10 family heads, and I think that's great. That's something I'm super excited for, because that makes me think we're going to meet most, maybe even all of them. At least the younger versions of them, which is super cool because we get to get the hype of meeting them for the first time, and it's the younger versions and stuff. And then later on in the series, it doesn't lessen the hype when we get to see the current, the real, the adult versions of all of them. So we get essentially 2 10 family head reveals for each of them, and I think that's going to be really cool. And it also, like CU said, it makes connections. It's good for setting up the characters, because let's say that Bomb or whatever meets the 10 family heads, has different relationship with each of them. Maybe he doesn't like this one and he wants to try to take them down or something, or maybe he's like, you know, this 10 family head, even though Zahard's empire is kind of sketchy, they're not all that bad. So maybe Bomb sort of makes these connections, And then when he climbs up the tower more and actually gets to meet these 10 family heads again in different circumstances, maybe when that happens, it'll kind of come into play where Bomb's like, I met the younger version of you on the virtual floor. I think it's really cool. There are a lot of possibilities with what can happen with character relationships, where you can build character relationships here on the hidden floor and then sort of transpose them into the real world story too. Another thing it makes me think about too is I hope we see more than just the 10 family heads though. Like, it's been so cool having young Yu Han-sung play a central part in this arc, and I really want to see young other people. I want to see the young 10 family heads, but I want to see young princesses too. A bunch of important characters, the young versions of them, I think it'd be so cool, or characters we've met or something. We know that not every ranker actually went to the end of the Hell Train. Not even every ranker even went on the Hell Train. But it'd be cool to see if there were more rankers we knew, Like, I doubt we'll see Quant or Liroro, but it'd be cool if we did. Trying to think of other characters that this works for, but basically characters like that. Where it'd be cool if we saw them, but I don't know if we will. I don't know if they actually went to the end of the Hell Train. Like Yuri, from what we know, didn't, so we're not going to have a young version of her. But maybe we could have a young version of Andrasi, or the princesses that are involved with the Princess Civil War, or even... Man, I lost who I was thinking of there a second ago. But there was somebody else who I thought it'd be cool to see a younger version of them. But I'm sure you all get my point at this point. I'm sure you all want to see other characters and their younger versions too. But either way, chapter as a whole, I did think that it was really great once again. I liked the extra world building we were given here, where it's not just the simple what we thought it was with the different stages or whatever, but it's that plus the other real world and how they can kind of VR go between the two, sort of. I liked Bottas's development. Bottas is just such a great art character. I really like Bottas. Yuan Sung is really great here too. I liked his little backstory of the reason he was here and stuff, and I do hope we get to find out who it was that the real him came to see and who it was that the real him didn't get to see. And maybe it would be cool if that changed the course of things. Like, maybe because Yu Han-sung didn't get to meet that person, it's why he ended up like the current him is, and if he had actually met that person who he came to get wisdom or something from on the hidden floor, maybe he would have turned out a different person. I think that'd be a cool storyline to go down. But either way, I'm excited to see what Rachel does next, just because her place in the story right now is really cool. She could screw with the big breeder. She's in the real world here. She could go and have a peaceful meeting with young Zahard, potentially, and I think that'd be incredible. Or she might have to hide. Like, if she's not supposed to be there and Chung is kind of hiding her, she could sort of be sneaking around and have to sort of force Chung into helping her because he'd get in trouble for not turning her in. So I think there's a lot of cool things that can be done with Rachel's story, not to mention all the cool things that could be done with her making a data copy avatar of herself to put in the other mirror's world. That, and I am excited to see what the real test is going to be, and not really that interested in the real test, or the real quest, whatever. I'm not that interested in it, but I think it'll be pretty cool to see it go down if it's just handled quickly. And then I'm excited for a new stage. I want to see what the variety between stages can be. If it's just going to kind of be like a normal world, kind of like the starter stage, the Town of the Wandering Minstrel was, or if it's going to be some crazy cool video game stuff that completely changes with each different stage they go to, and the different big breeders and characters they can meet on each stage. So pretty much this arc just has so many possibilities, and I'm really excited for all of them. As a score, I'd give it 8.5 VR headsets out of 10, because I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's it. Like, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff with the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server, just ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.